Good day, everybody out there in property world. I am delighted on a very special showcase introduction here today to have not one, but two people with me. Richard Hogben of Worldwide VA. How are you, sir?
I'm very well. Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Good. I am exceptional, actually.
Good.
I have got as well with me Mr. Mince. How are you, sir?
You almost forgot my name there for a second.
I'm trying to, you know how sometimes I go too fast. I'm trying to slow myself down like all the best news.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you. Good morning to you as well, sir.
Good. And I always remember you and value you dearly. That's what HR told me to say, and that's what I'm sticking with. And HR is going to be one of the things we're probably going to bounce into today, isn't it, Richard? So, Richard, you've got Worldwide VA, and let's just tee this up now, because I think a lot of people will have heard the phrase out there, won't they? I mean, it's really becoming, really actually quite central to our industry there. But could you just explain, just before we go into why you got into it, the actual VA concept, so that everybody understands why it's going to be, so important to them?
Yeah, 100%. So basically, I suppose the most important thing to say is that virtual assistants, they're not 5 or 6 to one person. You have one virtual assistant to you. And I think the misconception out there at the moment is I'm going to get, 5 or 6 people doing one job for me in my business. Well, that's not how it works. You have one dedicated person like you would do a member of staff. So for me, I started employing VAs about 7 years ago. Quite new and I suppose quite pioneering in that respect. And sort of COVID hit, and well, the COVID times were quite interesting for some and quite exciting for other people, in all fairness. But I then saw so much value in having somebody working remotely, because I just thought before, do I want people to work from home? Do I want them remote? There was always that niggle. Would they work hard? Would they, go off and watch TV, go for a walk, or do anything but work? But I absolutely amazed myself. So I then started employing more VAs, helping out the team in the branch, because I actually run a letting and estate agency as well. So I actually employed more people in the branch, and it's just grown from there. So we've got VAs doing our, I suppose we've got 4 VAs working in the business now. We have a VA doing our tenancy management side. So they will do the referencing, they'll book the viewings in, they'll confirm the viewings, they will then agree the let with the landlord, they'll then get all the tenancy documents sorted out, they'll book in the check-in documents, they'll go through all the referencing, make sure they've got the right to rents and all the kind of stuff you have to do in the front of a house, which, by the way, can all be done remotely. We have a VA in our property management department helping and assisting our property managers. They're doing gas safety checks, the EICRs, they are booking in, they are doing the renewals, they're doing the arrears chasing. We have a VA doing, helping out on the estate agency on the sales side as well, which is amazing. And this VA, she does a lot of the sales chasing, calling solicitors, the time you spend on the phone, saying, can I get through? Can I get through? And then they'll update the vendors, update the purchasers, they're doing the AML checks, they are writing descriptions, they are doing the photos, they're editing the photos, they're doing the floor plans, they are editing the videos. I suppose what I'm trying to say is, on top of that, we then have one doing social media for us. So all the social media marketing, all our blog posts for us, all our downloads, all our guides, all our nurturing.
I'm gonna have to stop you here, because I think for the first time ever I'm going to say we've got the name wrong here. This isn't virtual assistant. This is actually doing the job, the very detailed job, isn't it? Because I think this is the thing that caught me, in my head. I always came at it, I was getting hit by so many different people on the VA point of view. And it was literally about being kind of the supportive on the PA side, which is, really, really important, and about time saving and everything else. What I think people haven't caught up with quite yet is that actually they're capable of doing pretty much every job role, apart from the one where it's face to face, which is, as we always say, is the most dollar productive one, that you want to be sacrosanct about, protecting your time for you and your team.
And you're absolutely spot on there. So people, the question we get asked is, what can my VA do for me? And once we reel off what they can do, and it's basically they can do everything in-house. So everything you do in-house, the only thing they can't do is go out on a viewing or do evaluation. And that's it, obviously, and checkouts and check-ins and that kind of thing. But, everything else, which is a lot of administration, a lot of, pen pushing, it's the wrong word, but they can do 80% of or 85% of what the guys are doing in the office at the moment. So you're 100% right. And if you've got someone who's really good, really committed, really motivated, which these VAs are, they were. What I'll do shortly is bring a couple of VAs on that work for us, just to give you an idea of what they're doing. But from my point of view, they are really, really happy. They love what they do. The work-life balance is absolutely amazing. And it's just a win-win for everybody. So you've got a really good, positive member of staff who's extremely productive. In fact, one of our clients, we check in every month with one of our clients, and they've had a VA for 3 months. We checked in with the client and we said, how are you getting on? This client says, usually I'm quite demanding. Not usually, I am quite demanding. I've always got something to say, like I'm not happy about something. But he said, I can't think of anything. There is absolutely nothing negative I can say. In fact, he had a renewal process, which was taking the department about 5 weeks once you chase the tenants and landlord and so on and so on and so on. He's got that down to 1 to 2 weeks because a VA literally is so persistent and just gets it done. And because they don't have any distractions around them. I mean, that's amazing to reduce that time down, and the cost saving element that they can do as regards to what else they can do. It's just mega. Sorry, Simon and David, I do talk quite a bit. I apologize.
So, Richard, would you say that? I mean, if I give the kind of the elephant in the room, and the other question that most agents are going to ask is that we know that this will work for faceless sort of admin, if you like, but can it also be used for roles that don't necessarily need you to go out and see the client in person, but are more sort of client focused, as in sort of customer care, account management, and things like that? The objection might be that, well, I don't want somebody sat on the other side of the world doing that for me. I need somebody who knows it, who's got that background, and so on. How would you counter that?
So, and again, it's very, I suppose it's very easy for me to answer that question, because, and the proof's in the pudding, and I can give you the proof. So we have one of our VAs doing a tenancy referencing, who actually, I've got to say, got to a stage where all the properties are gone. There's nothing to let. The market is absolutely mental. So she needed something to do. So we said, okay, we've got a load of calls here. Need to make to landlords, try and convert them from let only to managed, or book some health and safety calls in there. And her success rate was amazing compared to the people doing it in the branch. We're getting clients coming into the office saying, "Can I speak to Stephanie?" We're saying, "Yeah, she's not actually in the office." But she gets on so well. She's getting 5-star Google reviews. So they can. I mean, it's all down to training. It's all down to having the expertise and the skill set to do what you need to do, and that's the most important thing when you're looking for a VA. Is finding out what you want. So, can you do account management? 100%. There's no reason why they can't. A lot of our workforce is based in South Africa, so the accent and the culture are very, very similar to the UK, and it's a very acceptable, if that's the right thing to say, because it is, but it's a very acceptable accent. You
don't even notice it these days, do you? Sometimes you think about it. I was genuinely just thinking, for example, in the prop tech industry, how many of them actually were just organically kind of, from South Africa? And of course, there's a huge amount of South Africans over here as well anyway. But actually, there's a key part of this is you literally don't realize. It's only when I've found out and kind of looked behind the curtain, as they say, how many businesses are doing this. And David, from our point of view, we've always been, I can't remember how Starbury placed it, but we've never had an office because of where everybody's placed in here, even though we went straight into lockdown and everything else. This is just the way that people work these days, or at least many businesses can work it, can't they? And either of you can jump in at that stage.
Yeah, no, well, I absolutely. And I think the other thing about the South African connection is that even though it is so far away, the time difference is superb for the UK. We're never more than 2 hours apart from each other. And for most of the year, it's also an hour, isn't it? It's about to change.
It is.
So in terms of getting people working on the same cycle that your clients are going to be working on, I think it works really well. So I think there is also that cultural understanding. And I think, Richard, I mean, I'm cheating. We're skipping ahead a little bit, but we'll hear from some of your VAs soon. But I think your effort I think you've acknowledged that you can't just get somebody to step in to the role of an estate agent or a supplier and just take up those tasks without the adequate training in the background. And what impressed me was your commitment to training was probably better than most of the businesses that would end up taking your services. So the VA that you draft in is likely to be better trained than your actual staff members.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because in all fairness, we have there are some amazingly qualified people over in South Africa that actually have a really good skill set, that have been to university, they've got master's degrees, that are crying out for roles within so many different verticals. You know, if you look at the supplier point of view, what could they do? Well, they could, you know, things like, you know, technical support, you know, setting up clients, nurturing clients, looking after clients, client retention. You know, if there's someone wants to work on a bit of software, they can do that. If someone wants some videos creating, they can do that. You know, that they are really, really great members of staff over there that really are looking for a great opportunity. And a lot of them see it as a career progression for them. And from a training point of view, we want to invest in our VAs. We want to make sure that they're constantly learning. Because if anyone ever turns around and says to you, I know it all, then it's just never the case in my experience. So, you know, if someone says I need training on this module, we will train them on this module, or this CRM system. We'll train them on that CRM system. Before they even start, we give them a terminology and a booklet of what they need to know. And I think from our point of view, we're very strong on our values and very strong on our customer promise. And every single one of our VA goes through quite a rigorous, and again, I'm probably stealing Trisha's fun I'm going to bring in very shortly, but they go through such a rigorous process. So, you know, they're all in tune and they all fit to the clients. And I'm saying too much, but I'll let Trisha explain it. But 100%, David, absolutely. You know, they're just amazing with the skills that they already come with, but also what we can teach them as well. And investing, like anybody, investing in your team is absolutely critical.
I think there's I mean, we have to, David always has a pop at me because I'm always like Andy out of Little Britain. I want that one. And the minute that we started
I'm just picturing that now.
Yeah. The minute that we started talking, though, Richard, we thought, actually, we've got an opportunity here with our own business and to, you know, practice what you preach in terms of everything. So we can talk about this with a real degree of knowledge. And as David just said there, the level of rigor that you guys go through, you know, outweighs lots of the different, you know, we've used so many of the different recruiters over the years, obviously gone through so many recruitment practices internally and everything else. The culture interviews, the sheer, you know, for me, obviously the price point's fantastic, but the quality that you get, of course, with the work ethic is the second and then most important part. But then the other thing as well is we didn't give you that long to actually, you know, to find quite a precise niche role. And the amount of CVs and people that you interview to come up with a shortlist, and I'll be really honest, we could have taken any one of the four, and David had to hold me back from doing exactly that. And ended up with one of those there. I think it's, yeah, it really just feels to me like you've ticked all the right boxes there in terms of what would be a great recruitment policy anyway, regardless of whether it's a VA role or an internal role.
Yeah. And that's absolutely. And I think, you know, the four people we put in front of you, they don't just come, as you said, we don't just like get right, okay, we'll have this. It does take a lot of time to get that right person. And again, Trisha's going to come on very, very shortly and we'll sort of explain the whole process because it's not quick. You know, if we've got to find that right person, it's not just about having the skill set. It's about matching a personality with you as well. Because
that probably took the longest with us.
It was a really hard challenge, that guys.
Maybe before Trish comes on, and for people sort of watching this, who want to know what the sort of typical cost is for this sort of thing, because that's the other side of this, is that you are getting a fully fledged work colleague, aren't you? You're getting somebody that is going to give their all the time. How does that compare to sort of employing somebody full time that is sat right in front of you?
Well, things are changing, you know. I'm not going to talk politics. That's not what you should ever do. But things are changing in the workplace, and things, you know, employment is getting a lot more expensive. Now, with the South Africans and the people we employ, interestingly, some of them are getting 2 to 3 to 4 times what they would earn in their own country. So they are, for them, it's an absolute, oh, yes, please, yes. I get the chance of working at home. I get paid 3 to 4 times more than I would do in my own country. So amazing. So, but if you take an average full-time salary for someone who's an administrator, okay, let's look at, I don't know, 24,000, £25,000 basic, without any commission or anything else. But on top of that, you've got employers NI, you've got pension contributions, you've got the HR, the HR scenario you've got to deal with, nights out, staff days out, that kind of thing. You're probably talking around £31,000 to £32,000 a year, which is just what you got to pay in the UK. It's a minimum wage. That's what the government's saying. That's what we have to do. In South Africa, for someone who's on a very, very similar footing, would come with the experience and come with the trained sort of to certain systems that you want. You're looking around about £15,500 a year. So the difference is 50%. I don't want to call it a saving but it is a saving. And on top of that, because it's a service and it's not PAYE, it actually comes off your bottom line as well at the same time. So look at corp tax, and which has obviously gone up. I mean, everything's going up, let's be honest, but there are massive savings.
Which would be great, but normally when you're looking at that, if you were making that decision over here, you're looking at a corresponding drop off in quality. And the thing that again jumps out is you've got your cake and eat it, because you've got the cost saving, but you've also got a harder working potentially person than somebody over here. Let's be honest, won't go into that with the same level of enthusiasm and everything else there, where they're higher skilled and higher motivated. So you've got a triple whammy there again, haven't you, to make it work?
Well, in all fairness, and everyone, I'm sure, once they listen to what I'm just about to say, will be nodding their head, and I'm sure you two will do the same thing. But recruitment in the UK over the last 7 or 8 years is just, do you know what? It's the most time-consuming task that anyone can have in their business. It costs money to recruit. 7 or 8 years ago, we put an advert out for a team member, a sales negotiator, or I don't know, but just anybody, we'd probably get 150 to 200 people apply, and that'd be like amazing. You got a lot of CVs to go through there. Now those I suppose the people applying has dropped down to about 25, 30 if you're lucky. And you're spending a lot more time, and this is just on the sites that are on Google that you can go to. But then you've got to go through the CVs, and half of them I found in my own personal experience lie and say, "Oh yeah, I've done that," but well, where is it on your CV? And then that half that you're down to, half of them don't turn up. So you're left with just 1 or 2. You're thinking, well, I need it, so I've got to put them in there. But that's the scenario we've had. Or you can pay recruitment fees of 15, 20%, which then, in my experience, come back 4 months later, call that member of staff. Are you happy there? Oh, we've got someone who can pay you £2,000 more a year. You're thinking, so you're absolutely right. 3, 4 times. There was just so many benefits in this. And for me, and for the team working on a day-to-day in the agency, they're absolutely loving working with the VAs. They have such a great, relationship with them. In the morning meetings, they'll get the laptop and put them on the desk so they can actually.
Well, rather than put them on the desk, we're going to invite one of them in right now, actually. So we're gonna bring Trisha in. Just 1 second.
Amazing. Okay. So you're right, Simon. Absolutely, it's brilliant. Absolutely. And here we go.
Ding dong.
Guys, how are you?
Oh, morning, Trisha.
Good morning, guys. How are you all?
Really good. You?
I'm good, thanks. I feel like I'm in the UK today. I'm having some of your weather this morning.
Sorry about that.
No, it's good. I need it sometimes.
So, Trisha, from your point of view, I know you've been listening to our preamble over here, but maybe just sort of take us through your process, because I know that's very sort of important to you in terms of getting to know the client's needs, but more importantly, matching them with the right sort of people.
Yep, 100%. So just a bit of background, I've been in corporate for 18 years. So I totally get businesses, strategy, and we are in the business to grow the business. At the same time, I have a passion to grow people. So that's where both balances. So for a business as a client, okay, we get on a discovery call with you so that I can understand your needs, your pain points, what you're actually looking for. And the reason why we get on a discovery call, because I don't only put a person in for skill. It's very important for me to match personality as well. Because when I find that match fitted VA for you, they become an immersed member, a part of your team. So which means they work together. And when I place somebody in your business, I want to place them long term. So I think that's the main thing that sets us apart, is that we don't just place for skill, but we also place for personality, because communication and having a good relationship with your team is absolutely important. Once I do that and get your job description, I then start sourcing the VA for you. I know you guys did touch on the rigorous approach and how we go about looking for that perfect VA. So I go through all of the CVs, do culture fits with them, and then I choose 2 or 3 of the best candidates and I place them to you. Yes, I know, Simon, most of my clients feel the same. They wish they could take them all, but they do come back to me after 3 months though. So they still go back. So it's very exciting, for me, helping businesses to grow and finding that perfect fit for the business and getting a candidate that just gets it. And also from a VA point of view, or a person that we place in your business, they're very passionate about what they do. Okay. So when they are in your business, they'll go the extra mile, they'll do the task, they're not afraid, they're outspoken. They send you an end of day, it's called an EOD tracker. Every afternoon you can see all the tasks they're going to do, they've done. They're also very forward management style, as in proactive. So they also send you out their task list for the next day. I know Richard says this is very cheesy, but the truth is your VA is your own superhero, and it's just not a personal administrator. I am able to fit any role in your business. The only thing we can't do is obviously the viewing, but everything else we can do for you.
I think I'm just going to jump in for a quick set, Trisha, because what I would like to say, which you've experienced with so many clients now, what they say to you. So, first of all, people are unsure when they come on a call. What is a VA? And do I need a VA? And what can they do? And so on. And, COVID sped this up. Post-COVID has absolutely sped this up now with regards to virtual working. So what are they now saying to you after waiting for so long? The key line that every single one of them said to you.
I shouldn't have waited so long, or I shouldn't have dragged my feet. I should have just got, and just did it. And the thing that sets us apart is, with finding you a VA, from our very first discovery call, you are in communication with me all the way. I keep you in the loop on how the process is going in finding you the VA. Even once I've placed the VA in your business, I just don't place the VA in your business and then you don't hear from me. But it's a relationship that we build with the client. So you will receive constant communication from me. We have our monthly check-ins, to make sure that everything is running smoothly. A lot of my clients, sometimes they need extra support. There's other areas in the business where, I need this here. What can you do for me there? And it's always very exciting to be able to help. And I'm seeing, I think the best thing for us is seeing these businesses grow. Some businesses have joined us in November and 3 months later, end of November, and they've already got their second VAs. And for me, that's exciting because look at the growth in that. Okay. And at the same time, a lot of people think a VA, I know you all touched about this, he's a personal assistant. Absolutely not. We're career driven. I'm a career-driven person. We work from home. We still go-getters. We still do everything that we want, whether it's a qualified accountant, whether it's a property manager. We still hold that title. We go above and beyond. So we're very passionate and we get to have the best of both worlds, in that sense. Also with systems onboarding, a lot of clients, they've never had a VA before. And they always, the question is, okay, if I'm going to get this VA, how am I going to actually train this VA? Because they are in another country from me. So it's very simple. I help them along. I guide them, Teams call, put them into your meeting. 2 weeks ago, one of our VAs had a birthday and the client had her on a Zoom. They had a cake in front of the laptop and they all sang for her and celebrated. And I actually gave the client a call to say thank you because, we appreciate that. And the best part about this, if you're a client of ours, it's a journey that we both go on together. It's a journey, a journey of growth. We're there for one another. We're there to help you, to support you all the way. So I think it's a long-term journey for both yourself, the client, the VAs, and us as well.
Yeah, there's no going back. Sorry, son.
Put that into context. The what the way it works, it's that really difficult one, isn't it? You kind of you think you kind of understand what you guys do, but is that going to be too much for me? As ever, I overcomplicate things, but you Trisha, you absolutely nailed it. You said, look, send me over as you would do just the normal job spec. These are the roles and responsibilities. Jump on board with yourself and Helga there, and we just discuss that through and make sure we've got the right understanding. You then came back to us with the job brief that you're going to be advertising over there. You then take it further forwards in terms of the culture ones there, and that level of rigor again, it was, I don't overplay it, but it was like having our own HR team that were working for us in support, really understanding our requirements on that. And so I can't understand how niche the job would have to be, apart from, as we said, the face-to-face element, that you couldn't be able to actually find some decent people for us for. And as you said, we're already looking left, right, and center at all the different options that we might be able to fill out going forwards. And I think what you've said to me, and I mean, look, Richard, you've ultimately done this yourself. You've got one, you've built up that team, did you say, through to 4? All of these other clients of yours that have actually, quite quickly found out that this is a real route to the business growth in the future that you simply wouldn't be able to do over here because of that, the price point and the limit on the amount of people you can get.
Yep. Simon, I'll say it's an absolute game changer. And the reason for that is we make the process as seamless as possible. So remember, every business is different. Every business have different processes. There's no 2 businesses that are alike, and every business use different systems. So that is why when we sit with you, we understand what you're looking for. We understand your need. We put it into a job spec, but we also put in the key element, which is the vision of your business, the personality, the culture. So even before me doing a culture fit interviews with this, my process is very rigorous because they have to send me, I do a video screening of them. And from there, I then shortlist to a culture fit interview where I sit with them, get to know them a bit. And because I've sat with you and I understand your need and I understand your personality and what you're looking for, it makes it so much more easier for me to find that person. I just won't, if somebody has 10 years experience, okay, in what you're looking for, if they're not the same, the personality doesn't match you, I won't put them into your business. The reason is when I place somebody, I place them for long term, because retention, to retain people in your office, that's the most important thing in any business. When you place them, you train them, they become a part of your team, you spend time with them. When I find that person, I spend a lot of time in searching for that correct person. So I know when I place that person there, I'm going to hit it on the head. And I want that person to stay there long term. But even just to quickly touch on, although we place the VA with you, we have our own VA community as well, where we have our own chats with them. We have our own communities, our check-in every morning. So we know that the VAs are all ready for the day. They kickstarted, their coffee's done, they toast, we do meditation in the morning, we take the dogs for a walk. And that's an exciting thing, because we get to have that work-life balance. We get to be with the kids, we get to see them. And at the same time, we love what we do. So you just have really, really happy people when you log in the morning and you're having your meetings. You got people with smiles. But
let's meet one of those people now, actually. So we've got Helga, I think, in the waiting room. We're going to bring in. Here we go.
Very quickly touch, guys. One thing I was petrified initially was VAs talking to my clients, and I think a lot of people have got that. Well, what will my clients say? What will happen? But there's absolutely no need to worry. The VAs are talking to the clients all day, every day. The clients actually really like talking about the culture. They really like talking about what's it like in South Africa today. It's 36 degrees. Really? It's like 2 degrees here and it's raining. North of England, but so it's really, really, it's really important to know that they can talk, they can pick up the phone, they can communicate. As regards to thinking on the feet, the common sense element, making decisions, putting that hat on, supplier hat, landlord hat, tech hat, customer service hat. Anyway, sorry. Hi, Helga.
Hello.
You okay?
I'm good, thanks, and you?
Yes, very good, thank you, very good.
So, Helga, from your sort of talking from the VA's perspective now. We talked about the sort of different roles that VAs can hold, and there's a multitude of them. But talking to sort of a property focused audience, what do you think are the most sort of prevalent roles that you come across?
So we get a lot of property administrators, people working in the sales negotiators, sales and lettings administrations, but we also get a lot of marketing. So as a marketer, if you have a good team on the ground or in the office, us as virtual marketers, I'm from a virtual marketing background. I worked for Richard in Spencer Harvey for 2 years. And if you have a team willing to do some office content and doing the video bits, we can do everything else. So we can do the social media content, we can do all the scheduling and analytics. You don't need to be in the office to do that. We can do all the video editing. So basically everything except videoing your team, we can give them guidance. What we do film days and write scripts and set the scenes and ask them exactly how to film it. And then we just get the content and put it out there. So we don't necessarily need to be in the office to do that.
And from your perspective as a VA, your kind of journey to becoming a VA, what was it about it that appealed? And if I can ask you, because we're all asking, what is it like to work with the South Africans? So I'm going to flip that. What's it like to work with the UK?
So my journey into virtual assistants, I stay in a smaller town, not a really small town, but it's a smaller city in South Africa, and our salaries aren't that great. And I have a very set of creative kind of skill set. And the kind of jobs in this town or city isn't that prevalent. There isn't a lot. And when there is, the salaries aren't worth it for me in that regard. So I went looking for something online because I know the kind of skills I have, it can be applied online. It doesn't need to be anywhere. If you have the technology and the Wi-Fi and the internet set up, you can work anywhere. And that's one point that we make sure that all our VAs have the right equipment and connectivity and backup for when we have load shedding. So that is a requirement from our recruitment side. But I came across virtual assistants when I didn't want to leave home because I have 3 kids at home. I live on a beautiful farm, and just to make you guys a little jealous, I live next to a lion sanctuary. So when I step out of my door, I'm looking at little cubs and lions and hear them roar. So I don't want to move away from that. I don't want to go into the city if I don't have to.
Hang on, are you telling us we need to get key person insurance if we've got lions and things running around? This was a hidden cost I hadn't factored in.
No, but most of us want to work from home, and we have, I think from a woman's perspective, there's always a sense of you either mother or you're a professional, and you can't balance both. But I think I'm an example of you can. We employ people with the drive and the passion to really make it in a workspace and become very professional and high ranking and still be dedicated mothers, because we have the option to do that.
Well, Helga, I can certainly say the way you've chased me on a number of occasions when you've had to. I can back that up. It's certainly the passion.
He sometimes feels like he's being chased by one of those lions, but
I think one of the things that really appeals to me, though, as well, is you mentioned earlier as well, you were talking, Trisha, as well, about the systems and even that attention to detail, and that, you know, that's sometimes it's a bit of an afterthought over here, but marketing is in particular is such a broad church. You know, being able to come to you guys and say, actually, look, we need somebody with HubSpot experience or Salesforce experience. They need to know MailChimp, and come up with almost like a perfect profile of how that is. The skills, I mean, that's what really appeals to me on one level, is so many of these, especially marketing tools, are just global players these days, that the knowledge set is as high, or if not higher, over there for the price point we're getting at, isn't it? So yet again, it's just another kind of element of how you can really find, whereas you might think you have to go for a much more training and development led approach over here, you know, get them on board, get them trained up. You would be best placed, I would suggest, to actually see if there's somebody already over there in the VA world that actually has this skill set and experience as well of working with those tools.
Yeah, I think what we see a lot is people they aren't necessarily virtual assistants, they are specialized in their fields, and they are looking to remote work because we have a very good work-life balance. The costing to your household is so much cheaper. And the commute and the time you get back with your family is way so much more than what you'll get in an office and things. So we get people that's very specialized in the industry and very experienced that are looking for jobs remotely because we can offer that to them.
Can we talk about the training that you guys have, particularly around property? Because this really amazed me, and I actually bumped into Charlotte from the Able Agent, I think, who's been helping you guys as well. And I said to her, "Oh, your name came up in conversation," and I was trying to sort of work out who said that she'd used them, and actually it was you guys that were saying that it's part and parcel of the training that you provide. Now, so for anybody watching this, and most people will know, the Able Agent and their platform has been providing estate agents with training, but also formal routes to qualifications as well. So it's not sort of light training, it's actually quite thorough. That's something that you guys have instilled there as well. So just expand on that a little bit.
So I'll jump in there because I introduced this first of all at the estate agency, thinking, right, I need to train my staff up on X, Y, and Z. And you're right, the Able Agent is an amazing platform, not just because of the content, but because of what the progression that people can see and the route to MVQs, you know, getting to property mark and being, you know, Marla or M&A and so on and so on. So, you know, the route to qualification is absolutely amazing, but how it makes the VAs feel proud when they complete that course. And these courses aren't easy, you know, they're really not. You've got to know what you're doing. You've got to know about the industry. You've got to know the technical questions and the technical ability. So we put the VAs on these modules, and if someone says, I want someone with property management experience, okay, so we'd sit them on the Able Agent courses, which cover customer service, property management, the legal and legislation side of things, and then someone says, you know what, I really fancy going to I really fancy going to sales. I want to learn about sales, or block management. So from the training perspective, the VAs love it. They absolutely love it, because their laws are similar but different to the UK than it is in South Africa. But the legislation, as we know, in the UK is changing. I'd like to say on a daily basis, but it pretty much is in all fairness.
I think we're catching up with South Africa, not the other way around, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's you know, from our point of view, the training is colossal, and we make it important that every single month we get a specialist trainer in as well. Okay, so the VAs will sit down, they'll be on a Zoom call like we are now, and we'll get specialist trainers from the relevant industries. So if it's property, we'll look at the key people out there that are giving some really good value add to all the, you know, to all the industry and all the agents. We bring them on for a Zoom call, and we jump on with the VAs once a month and give them a specialist trainer. So from our point of view, it's really important you invest. It really is. I mean, Trisha, Helga, what are your views on this?
Yep.
Yeah, you can go.
Just to touch on, Simon, some of our VAs already, they are equipped with Salesforce, Zendesk, so they already use those systems as well. 8x8, they are, you know, they've already accustomed to it. They've used it in their current jobs that they are. So if you're lucky, that's what we put on the job specs with that. With regards to upskilling VAs, when we do your discovery call with you, and if there's certain systems that you use, we set the VA up for success. So we will create a pack for them as well, you know, YouTube videos to watch those. We create a Zendesk pack. So we make them, we prepare them before they actually start with you. And I think, you know, with Able Agents, it's absolutely amazing as well, because they know that they're growing.
Within the group as well, the community, the VA community,
Yeah.
A lot of the other VAs are using similar systems, so they can ask the group saying, how do you add a tenant? How do you add a contractor? How do you add a supplier? Well, you just do this and this and this. So, you know, a lot of them just get on with it, you know, as opposed to, you know, asking questions or stopping and waiting. They'll just ask the latter community. So it's really good, the fact we've got that skill set in there. But yeah.
So for any sort of agents watching this now, wondering, you know, we've given them a lot to think about today, and
Yeah.
we've told them how thorough your process is, and your approach, and it's great, because I think there's a lot of passion there, particularly when you hear Trisha and Helga speaking as well. It's great. I wish some of you know, my staff that were sat right next to me could talk as enthusiastically about their work-life balance and how important that is to them. So it sounds like you've got your culture mix right. But if they're thinking about opening the doors to VAs within their businesses, what's the best way for them to go about that? Is it an initial sort of discovery call? How does it work?
Well, Trisha, I'll let you jump on that one actually, because this is your bag, and you know you do this day in, day out.
Fantastic, lovely. So you can book a discovery call with me, okay? And when we get onto a discovery call, we'll have a chat. I will take you through our processes, like what we did now, and find out your needs. And once we get that together, then we get the ball rolling from our side. So you can reach out to me via our link. You can go onto book a discovery call with us, and I can't wait to meet you guys.
Can I just touch on one? Obviously, David always represents the agency side of it. I come from obviously the
bad habits. I
know. I'm as you know, I'm PropTech's Whaley Wonka. I said Wonka, and there's a lot of. I see this as absolutely vital for the supplier side of the equation as well. As I said, it's been amazing seeing just how many VAs we see are actually working in PropTech world and everything else, and how many of those businesses are constrained from some of the things that they want to do, whether that's increasing the account management, the BDM side of things, all the different angles we've already spoke about. But as you said before, I think, Richard, you know, this isn't constrained to just property, is it? Quite the opposite there. Literally, as long as you can define the job role there, the talent pool is out there.
Well, I mean, Simon, Worldwide VA, take that as an example. Okay, so we're not a property company. We're not. We're not a tech company. We're not a lawyer. We're not an accountant. But the VAs run the company. The VAs basically can do everything from South Africa. So if you take the supplier world and take what jobs in the supplying world that out there, and what can they do? Account management, 100%. In fact, the people that you interviewed actually recently, they'd come from a very, very similar account management background.
One of the ladies was working for an accountancy firm helping out with the HMRC over here, wasn't it, as well? So I mean, this is just so. I think it's just like one of those ones when you suddenly realise actually where it is, just how this is not a new and it's something brand new. It might be new to a lot of the people that are watching this, but actually this is now way beyond that emergent phase, isn't it?
It is. And do you know what? It is just scratching the surface. I think it is, because people are still, the mindset is shifting, and it's shifting pretty quickly now, I've got to say. So people are going, but they can do that. And do you know what? They're actually getting better results because they don't have any distractions. They can get on with it, calling those people up or chasing those leads or booking in those calls or converting, closing that sale down at the right time. They call them, there's just, the endless of verticals that they can go into and that we're currently working in at the moment. It's just the doors are opening every single day, and people say, "Can you do this?" Well, yeah, of course they can. If you think about 80% of the stuff you can do well, you can delegate. Again, as long as you don't have to physically. Well, even physically, I mean, we've got teams. They can do a Teams call. They can close a client. Most of these people now. I mean, the world's become a very small place now. So a lot of sales calls, a lot of closing calls, they're done on Zoom. People. It's very rare, not very rare, but it's more so. People are actually making appointments online than they are getting in the car and driving down to London or driving up to Scotland or going over to Europe, whatever it might be, because it's more convenient. So more so, I suppose, in the prop tech world or the tech world, that even more than 80% of the stuff you can do can be delegated. So yeah,
really helpful to know. Yeah, really helpful to know.
And also, just to touch on Simon, we use very different, unique work streams to find you that candidate. That's how we get you the cream of the crop. So like you said, Trish, you had somebody there with UK experience. And yes, we do get that. We do get some candidates that already have UK experience. They worked in different areas. And then we do get candidates that's currently working in the same area in South Africa. So with Worldwide VA, we have different unique work streams where we source our candidates from. Therefore, we're able to deliver you the best. And we will never, ever just place somebody in your business just for the sake of doing it. No, we make sure we get it right. It's not something that's done overnight. If it takes a week, it takes a week. If it takes 2 weeks, it does. But the most important thing is getting the right person in and the right fit.
I'm going to jump in for a quick sec because Trisha, it's funny. A lot of the people we're speaking to from VA points, you actually have connections in the UK anyway. I mean, take you for example. You know, I think literally what 10 miles down the road. In fact, we looked at it, it was 8.4 miles. I live in Timperley in Sale, and I'm going, okay, that's just literally there. And it was, you know, it's amazing how many people. So yeah, I've got friends that live in London, or friends that live down south, or friends that live in Scotland. It's, you know, they're very attuned to our culture, very attuned to our customs. And the South Africans will, in some respects, will give as good as they get. So, you know, if they've got an idea, they'll speak up. They'll tell you about it. You know, they'll say, yeah, I'm not quite sure about that. Have you thought about that? And you go, no, I haven't, but that's a great idea. Thank you so much.
That's fantastic, because you get an enthusiastic, full-blown member of your workforce. That's it. It's not temporary. It's not something that needs to be an interim solution. It's somebody that can actually be a contributing member of your team. It's been really fascinating to meet you all and to talk to you about it. So thank you once again to Richard, to Trisha, and to Helga, and for all those people watching out there. They're the loveliest, most knowledgeable, friendly people. Get to know them, and they'll take you through their process. So thank you.
Really appreciate your time, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.
Simon, you're muted.
Oh, I'm muted, Simon.
Thank you very much. There you are. That's why we need so many assistants to look after me. Perfect way to close it off. Thank you, guys. Been fascinating to do it. Obviously, we're going down this journey ourselves, and we'll catch up with you over the coming weeks.
Amazing. Take care, everybody.
Perfect.
Cheers. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.